looking for strength.
Well, hi once again, everybody. Welcome into this edition of the 19th Hole, a podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and so happy to have you joining us today. We've got a wonderful show with a wonderful gentleman who I had on the radio a number of years back, and very, very happy that I was able to reconnect and get him on our new video podcast for you all to take a look at him. If you've been in the world of golf for any time at all, you are going to recognize this gentleman. You're going to recognize the name of Barney Adams. He's really almost iconic in the world of golf equipment, and I'm sure a lot of you watching out there are probably still playing some of the clubs that Barney made, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about his new company. We're going to talk about what else he's been doing, and he's just a wonderful gentleman. So without further ado, let me introduce to everybody Mr. Barney Adams. And of course, Barney is mostly well known for starting Adams Golf back in 1998, specializing in really custom-made golf clubs. Adams Golf grew to tremendous success with the release of his very famous Titleized fairway woods. Barney served as chairman of the board of Adams Golf until June of 2012, when TaylorMade purchased his company, and then, of course, now TaylorMade has been purchased by another company. We might talk about that a little bit with Barney. After a brief hiatus from the golf business, Barney got back into the game, so to speak, with his company Breakthrough Golf Technology after realizing there were no significant innovations as relates to putter shafts, which was oh so very true and still is. So in 2014, Barney and his team of award-winning engineers kicked off Breakthrough Technology that we're going to talk about very shortly. So anyway, Barney, welcome to the show, and very, very happy to have you back on.
Thank you for that nice introduction. And looking at this, I can tell that I have a face for radio.
No, you don't. That's let me go off. Let me go off script a little bit. You're certainly well aware that TaylorMade was just purchased by an Asian company. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's 2 out of 4. Right? Titleist and TaylorMade.
Right.
They're both owned by companies now.
Right. You think that's really going to have a change in dynamics for both those companies?
Titleist seems to have done very well with it. I mean, I'm the consumer. You don't know. You never know when something like that happens, if they're going to walk in and start making management decisions, or if they're going to let the people that run the company actually run the company. Excuse me. You just never know. Time will tell.
What was the allure, Barney, do you think that got TaylorMade interested in you in eventually buying Adams Golf?
Honestly, I don't know. They told us when the purchase was made that they were going to keep the company in Texas and develop it into a large freestanding company, larger freestanding company, and so on. And frankly, what happened was when they, at the same time, their own business was deteriorating, and I don't think they realized it. It takes a while for these things to, come to the surface.
Yeah.
And basically, when they found out, they kind of, went back to California, concentrated on TaylorMade business, and eventually closed down Adams and brought the products. I don't think any people, but brought the products into their facility in California, and it's been dormant ever since until some time ago. I saw what they call a short form infomercial for Tight Lies Fairway Woods, and I'm assuming that's tailor-made, although they might have sold it to somebody else. I absolutely have no idea what
Okay.
involved me.
Okay. How did the concept of Tight Lies come about? You realized there was a need. You were doing custom clubs, but how did the concept for the Tight Lies Woods come about, Barney?
When you're custom fitting, of course, the aim is to provide your customers with clubs that they're delighted with, that
Right.
they can play with. And I was not doing a very good job, specifically in one area. When the ball was on the ground and it was a long second shot, I couldn't do enough job. Well, not in my opinion, just my own data, to please customers. And I didn't like the design of the club that I was using. So I went around to the local stores to see what the other major companies were doing with their fairway wood designs, figuring that I just didn't have a good vehicle, so to speak. And I didn't find anything I liked there. And back in those days, fairway woods were kind of like a I don't know what you would call them, like a cousin to driver, so to speak.
Uh-huh.
You came out with a driver,
Uh-huh.
and then your fairway woods looked like smaller versions,
Right.
and it was slightly more loft. And the idea was that somebody would buy the driver, but they would also buy the fairway woods. It was a sales,
Right.
idea. Well, that doesn't work. Drivers are ball on tee. That's an environment. Fairway woods are ball on ground.
Right.
That's a completely different environment.
Right.
So one night, I used to work at the Hank Haney Golf Ranch in Dallas. That's where I did my custom fitting, and I would work from about 2 in the afternoon till when the place closed, roughly 10 o'clock at night. And I went back to our little office that was tiny, trust me, where we did our assembly work and so on, and sketched out this idea I had for a club. And the idea had kind of come to me over several custom fittings, what I wanted the ball to do, what I wanted the club to do, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera. Sketched it out, sent it to a source that I knew in Taiwan, and say, "Can you make me some of these?" And I remember the guy got back to me immediately. And he said, "This looks kind of weird. Are you sure you want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." Uh, there's some things in this club that I think would really help my customers. So maybe 8 weeks or so later, I get a box and there are some heads. And I shaft them up, take them back out to the Haney Ranch, try them with my customers as a custom fitter. And you got to remember now, this is custom fitting in the early 90s.
Right.
You said Adams started in 98. It was actually 88. I had moved to the Haney Golf Ranch. I started in Abilene, Texas, but I moved to the Haney Golf Ranch about 1990 or 91. So in 90 and 91, nobody was custom fitting. Some little independent guys, but it wasn't a movement in the golf industry. So I got into custom fitting because I had a product line that I could. People would look at my clubs and they, "Oh, gee, these are nice, but I'm going to buy Ping, Titleist, TaylorMade, whatever, for nobody."
Mm-hmm.
By offering the service of custom fitted clubs, I was able to generate very, very minor amount of sales, but enough to keep going. And so when I brought my Tight Lies Fairway Wood, and the name, by the way, because I always get asked about the name, it just came to me. I mean, I actually wrote it on the sketch as I was sending it to Taiwan. There's no more background than that. I just visualized this ball on a fairway with a tight lie.
Yeah.
And that was the shot that my customers had a hard time with. And when the samples came back and I gave them to some of my customers to try, they liked them. They really worked well.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, that's it. I've done now I can go back and finish my custom fitting work because I've solved this one area.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except that the club kind of took off a life of its own. People liked it, and we would get phone calls. "Hey, custom fitted Harry the other day. I don't want a custom fitted clothes, but I love that tight lines. Could I get one of those? And on and on and on. And, as the story goes, it
the rest is history. Yeah, the rest is history. It was a perfect name as it turned out, Barney. And I apologize about the mistake, misstated about the year. Briefly, before we take our first break, Barney, tell us about your involvement, and I think it's great, in the Ryan Foundation and Folds of Honor, two great charities.
I get asked a lot. I've been very fortunate. I've won some awards and, blah, blah, blah.
You've won a lot of awards.
Yeah, whatever. And I get asked a lot about, what is your biggest accomplishment or what do you favor the most? And it would be the Ryan Foundation. And one of the reasons for it is that probably nobody's ever heard of it. That little shop that I told you about, I was sitting there one day and a policeman came to the door. And I think I had 2 employees or maybe 3 at the time. I don't know. And anyway, we're looking at each other like, well, it's not for you. Why is he here? He came in and sat down and told us a story about his son, who I think the age was 4 or 5 at the time. Robust young boy, doing all the kid stuff, running around, but had been diagnosed with this horrible disease that I cannot pronounce. It's about 8 or 9 letters long. Mm-hmm. What they call an orphan disease. And I had never heard of orphan diseases. But these are diseases that they could be fatal, but they affect so few people that there are no movements to cure them. There's no big charities and so on and so forth. And sure enough, his son had been diagnosed with this orphan disease, and he was going door to door to try and raise money.
Wow.
Then he was going to somehow find a research doctor that was going to do a cure. I mean, I would say the odds were literally millions of one against him. Mm-hmm. Well, I said, look, at the time you were calling on me, I said, I don't have a dime. I'm broke. That was a way of life for me. But let's put together a golf tournament, because golfers are incredibly charitable people.
Right, they are.
Golf raises more money for charities than any other sport times some factor. I don't know what it is. And let's see what we can do. Anyway, we started with the golf tournament. This was in Dallas. And I can tell you that little boy, by the way, is getting married this July in Dallas.
Oh, that's awesome.
4 years old.
That's awesome.
It was, if the tight lies was a 1 in a million shot, the Ryan Foundation was a 1 in 10 million shot.
Yeah, that's a wonderful story, Barney. That is terrific. All right, I'll tell you what. Don't go away. Sit right there. We're going to take a short time out, and we come back. We're going to have a lot more with our very, very special guest, Mr. Barney Adams. So stay with us. We return right after this.
Golfers at every level strive to hit the ball like a tour player, setting the club perfectly at the top, storing all the energy as they unwind and their club head approaches the ball, striking it flush at impact and staring it down as it explodes off the club towards the target. Introducing Precision Impact. Precision Impact is the single tool that will accelerate that process and get anybody striking the ball with complete command. Unlike any other product, Precision Impact is designed to keep the hands quiet and prevent the fatal flipping or scooping of the hands. This amazing product will actually reprogram your brain to keep your hands in the perfect textbook position. Precision Impact will soon have you hitting the most crisp, consistent shots of your life. As you start your backswing, you should hear several clicks as your wrist folds properly for a perfect set at the top of your swing. From there, allow your arms to fall as you aggressively rotate through the ball, knowing your Precision Impact will keep your hands and club head in the ideal position. Order now at PrecisionImpactGolf.com and never look back.
Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with. And more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at encoregolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to encoregolf.com and see for yourself. Your scores will love you for it. That's ONCORE golf.com. All right, welcome back, everybody, to a continuation of the 19th Hole, a podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and don't forget, we have a new segment that is absolutely wonderful called the Golfer's Garden. That's going to be incorporated very, very soon into this show, so please keep that in mind, and of course, we'll be giving you updates and reminders as we go along. Anyway, let's continue with our wonderful interview with Mr. Barney Adams. Barney, in your view, what's been the biggest advance in golf club technology in the golf business since you kind of got out of the business? Forgetting putters now, we're going to talk about breakthrough, but as far as the regular clubs, what's been the biggest advance in your view?
Triplex mower. Fairways are firmer, better. You're getting more rollout. And in the business of golf equipment, there is only one issue, and that's distance.
Right.
And the triplex mowers have made the fairways such that they are helping the golfer get more distance. And I know that sounds like a snide comment, but actually it was Tom Fazio, the golf designer, who was a buddy of mine. He was the one that told me that. He was the one that said that was the biggest advantage. Beyond that, it's every year when it's time for new products, each company has a new driver that is longer, straighter, etc.
Right.
And I asked myself, gosh, does that mean last year's model was good? Or what is it? Because it's a regulated business. And just calling a spade, golf equipment is not a product business. Golf equipment is a marketing business. And that's why the four major companies of today, Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, and Ping, were the four leading companies 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Because it costs tens of millions of dollars of marketing every year to tell the public of products. And I might come up tomorrow with a very nice idea for a set of golf clubs, but unless I've got roughly $20 million a year to spend on marketing it,
wow.
And it takes about 3 years before the message even resonates, then you can't afford that. That's why it's the same four guys. So golf clubs are not sold. Golf clubs are bought. That means you've got to identify the buyer and incentivize that person to buy something, whether it could be online or go to a store or whatever. So if I get monthly, it used to be more often, but as I fade into the dust, it's not as often as it used to be, contacts from people who have a product idea. And some of them are wonderful, and I'll tell them, that's a really good idea for a product. But I'm going to save you a lot of grief unless you've got access to tens of millions of dollars to tell the public. It isn't going to work. It isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I had this, I saw your ad for Encore. I know those guys. They're out of Buffalo, New York, of all places.
Correct.
The hotbed of golf. With the season is about 4 days long. I grew up in.
But it's got Niagara Falls, though, very, very close, Barney.
It's nice. It's good. I went to college in that part of the year, played 3 years of college golf, and never played without either snow in the air or snow on the ground.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's the California desert now. I've had it with the other stuff.
Yeah, I certainly don't blame you.
It's a tough gig. I'm just, and it's interesting. As you mentioned this before, Titleist and now TaylorMade have been bought by Asian companies, Korean companies.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. The Asian people have a passion for golf. Unequivocally, they have a passion for golf, and I think that passion is indicated in the fact that they are now owning one of the four. One of the two groups owns one of the four major equipment companies in the business.
Right.
For years, they tried to break into this market with their own products, and they couldn't do it. They just couldn't somehow get that message to consumers to the point where they sold enough product to stay in business. We have the PGA show. It's every year in January. They have the PGA show now every year in January, and that's where all the manufacturers get together, have booths, set up booths, show their products for the upcoming year. It's a national show.
Right.
So that means if you go to the PGA show, you spend the time and the money to go to the PGA show, what you're saying is, I'm getting in the big game. Mm-hmm. That's what it means.
Right.
I took 10 years of books of people who were attending at the PGA show and counted 129 companies that attended the PGA show that are no longer in business. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty serious death rate.
We were just talking about that earlier. It's funny that you mentioned that, Barney, and it's extremely, extremely, competitive business. But speaking about materials and stuff, do you think there will ever come a time, Barney, where the governing bodies of golf, whether it's the USGA, the R&A, whoever, they're going to go, enough is enough? We're sick of this so-called all-new technology, these new metals, this and that and the other. It is what it is, and sell what you got. Do you ever foresee that happening, or is it going to be a continuum of golf club companies making, hey, we've got a harder face, we've got a softer face, we've got a lighter shaft, we've got this and that and the other. Is it ever going to end, Barney?
So I'll give you a one-word answer why. Lawyers. I mean, come on, you're a big company, you've got a huge staff, millions of dollars in advertising, and I come along and say, it's too bad you can't do that anymore. You're going to say, excuse me, this is one of my law firms. I'll be getting in touch with you. I mean, it's a business.
Yeah.
That's your business. I mean, there are already in place limits. We've had them I forget when the first USGA official notification and limits came about, but it was many, many years ago, and it has a ceiling on those factors that are most relevant to distance. So all of us in the industry had to work within those limitations for years.
Right.
And I think
I think we just lost Barney. We had a small technical issue.
Am I here now?
Yes, you're back. You're back.
I got a phone call. I never get a phone call.
I thought you went to the restroom real quick or something. That's okay. We're glad to have you back.
Nobody ever calls me, Anyway, I think the biggest, what I see, and we're talking about distance now.
Right.
And again, I don't care about how well your 9-iron plays, but I'm talking about distance. What I see today amongst the superior players, and again, I got to back up again because it's not that simple. The superior players today are athletes. In the old days, believe me, I'm a member of the old days, okay? The athletes played other sports. The guys that couldn't make the football, basketball, baseball, etc. team, and they wanted to try something, tried out for golf.
Right.
But they weren't, really pristine athletes, so to speak. But today, you get athletes, and so that certainly is a factor.
Yeah. Definitely.
And if you look at, I saw this the other day, and it kind of made me chuckle. I forget who the player was, but it was, hey, I haven't been playing so well lately. I'm assembling all my coaches, and we're going to, set up a program. And I'm thinking, my gosh, all my coaches. And, he's got a driver coach and a short game coach and a putting coach and a thinking coach and a physical fitness coach and so on. I mean, that's a major factor in of itself. The emphasis that's being used, so on. And so we have athletes, and what we also have that's different than the old days is the long fade off the tee. The golf ball, you can fade the golf ball, you can get it airborne without a lot of spin, and that's a relevant statement, of course, but enough airborne to maximize the carry distance, and then have a slight left or right fade for control purposes.
Right.
If you look at your longest hitter, I just read McIlroy, for example, is going to go to a fade off the tee.
Correct.
Well, in the old days, if you wanted to hit it further, you had to hook it.
Right.
And hooks are unfriendly. They do very good things, but they can turn on you in a heartbeat.
Totally.
And a slightly overplayed hook with overspin right to left, and guess what? You're playing out of a swamp or something. You wanted to hit the ball into the fairway. So the long fade, and so the ability to hit the ball airborne without a lot of spin, I think the ball guys, and I am completely clueless on how you make golf balls, but there's no question about the fact that the degree of technology has increased substantially.
Exponentially, you're right. Well, one thing that you're not clueless about are putter shafts, and we're going to talk about that right after our next break here. But real quickly, Barney, do you think golfers are naive? Because everybody I know is chasing that extra 10, 12, 15 yards. Doesn't matter how much money the damn club costs, they want that extra yardage. So quickly, do you think they're naive overall, Barney?
Nuts. Not naive, nuts, crazy. It's the game. It's as I said before, if I was selling wedges, believe me, I would concentrate on how far you could hit them, because I've been on the range with people with wedges. Well, I don't know. I think I might hit mine a little further. Well, you do, because it's an 8-iron. I can see it the way it's been turned down. That's the name of the game.
Oh, strength in those clubs. I absolutely love it. Sure. All right, Barney.
Well, you lower gets the ball up airborne, then you strengthen the loft, and you say you got a new technology.
Well, exactly. All right, Barney, stay right there. We're going to step away, take another short break, but before that, we're going to do our game tip of the week, brought to you by Scratch Golf Academy and 3-time Southern Florida PGA Chapter winner Adam Bazalgette. Just a wonderful teacher. So stay with us. We're going to be back more with Barney Adams right after this.
Okay, we all know that putting counts for a lot in golf, short putting for sure. And this is a little drill based on some information from a fantastic book that I read that I suggest strongly to you. It's called Every Shot Counts by a guy called Mark Brody. Head of the Columbia Business School, he crunched down the shot link data from the PGA Tour and also amateur statistics and came up with value judgments on how shots can be measured and how strokes are gained. Here's a little putting drill that will help you determine how you stack up with the best putters. Now you'll notice the hole over here. I've put 3 balls that you can see probably 10 feet away from the hole. I have a pretty accurate pace, so I just paced off 3 paces, added a foot, and that would be within 6 or 8 inches of 10 feet from the hole. And it's crucial that you go at different angles. And the game is you have to putt 10 putts. Now, I wouldn't put 10 balls out because you want to create real games to sort of reality feeling. So by the time you've set the next 3 up or the next 2 up, gives you little breaks and makes it more challenging. But the long and the short, you have to hit 10 putts from 10 feet at different angles to the hole, not the same angle, and then you measure your score. And here's how you're going to score it. If you hold a putt, that's 2 points. If you miss the putt, but your first putt at least gets to the hole, that's 0 points. If you miss the putt, but your first putt fails to get to the hole, where there'd be no likelihood of making it, minus a point. And if you take 3 putts or more, that's minus 3 points. So how many points do you think would be the average thing? Well, here's what it is. A tour pro would average about 7 points. That's the median tour average. An 80 shooter, a typical 80 shooter, would be about 4 points, and someone that struggles to break 100 or shoots right around 100 would likely be probably minus 1 point. So do this drill, see how you stack up, and you can do it again on different days. Try to make it as realistic as possible when you do it. Different angles to the hole, little breaks, and you'll get a chance to measure how effective a putter you are.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the lag shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the lag shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com. As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. We are back with more with our very special guest, Mr. Barney Adams, formerly of Adams Golf. And Barney, before we start getting a little bit short on time, what made you interested? What gave you the inspiration, the motivation to start breakthrough golf technology? Did it just come to you in an epiphany? Did your wife slap you in the head, said, "Jesus, Barney, you're driving me nuts all day and staying at home, do something"? What was it? How did it start?
It's closer to the second one.
And your wife is charming, by the way.
Yeah, no question about that. Well, she does tech support in the house because I'm completely incompetent. the idea behind the putter shaft, when we were doing some testing and just fooling around with stuff, is that it's real. And what I mean by that is, as I said before, golf products are heavily marketed.
Yes.
So there's kind of a fine line between the reality of what they say they are. You know, it has to be in a certain set of conditions and so on and so forth. If you look at putters, go back to when I played back in the, just post the wooden shaft era, putter heads were fairly light. The bullseyes, the Walter Hagen blades, and so on and so forth. And as putter head designers have learned more about perimeter weighting and the effects of perimeter weighting, putting heel toe weight into the putter head, the putter heads themselves have gotten much larger and much heavier. All right, we can see that with the putters that are being used today.
Right.
Over a period of time, some 60, 70 years, the putter shaft hasn't changed. And as you've added weight to the head, you add stress to the putter shaft to the point where the shaft oscillates very, very slightly during the putting stroke. But if it's oscillating at all, it's having an effect on the face. And any putting instructor will tell you that having the face square at impact is critical to putting. If you don't have that, you're dead.
Right.
That's
right.
So it violates the very premise of the good putting stroke. And we were able to develop a shaft that mitigated that problem. Now, you could do that easily. Number one, by making the shaft almost solid, so it's but it's so heavy and strong that it won't turn at all. Or you could do it a variety of ways. You could make it much lighter, would do thing. But those shafts, as a golfer, if you're going to use them, you become totally aware of the shaft. It gets in the way of your putting stroke, so to speak, and that's no good, because your adjustment to the fix is greater than the problem you're trying to fix in the first place.
Yeah, well said. Well said.
You had to develop a shaft that is same weight, same balance. Close your eyes, couldn't tell the difference between the normal steel shafts, except for the fact that it doesn't oscillate. That took a couple of years. That's very difficult to do. But that's what we have with the shaft, stability shaft line that we have now. And I think listen, we're a tiny little company. Nobody, we don't advertise. We don't have any money, etc. We've been around, I think it's our third or fourth year now. I kind of lose, honest with you. But it's, a couple of other products we're working on, but they have to be real. They have to be something that when we say, okay, if you do this, this is the result that you can achieve, that has to be real.
Yeah, you were very kind enough the last time you were on the show, very kind enough to ask me to send one of my putters down, and you were going to change out the shaft, and you did, and I got it back, and there was a change. There was no question about it. I was cognizant of it. The putter felt a little bit different, a little bit strange, not because of the shaft. It was because I knew I was putting with something that was correctly fitted for my putter. And I've got to tell you, Barney, this is no BS, and I'm not saying it because you're on the show, but after a while, I started getting used to it, and I knew that I didn't have to worry about vibration or anything like that. And I'm telling you, I have been putting absolutely terrific. And that's a very honest testimonial, Barney.
Well, I thank you for that. And by the way, that's the answer we hear the most often. Because I tell people, listen, I put this shaft in your putter. You're not going to go out and make everything.
No.
This is not some, 2-bit infomercial type of deal. But if you stick with it and your body adjusts to it and understands how it works, you will putt better over time. And that's exactly the result we've gotten literally hundreds of times.
Exactly. You've got to stick with it. That's very, very well said. All right. If all those people listening go, yeah, I could probably use a better shaft in my putter or whatever, how do they get it to you? How do they find you, Barney?
Well, the internet, Breakthrough Golf Tech has got a website. You can go on the website and There's all the information about the product and how to get it, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Can you give us any inkling about the new things you're working on, or is that still?
Well, yeah, I wanted to tell you about one because in your breaks you had some training devices and so on, and I am doing some fine tuning on one. It's very, very light. It's like a collar that you wear, and you activate it before you start your swing, and then the motion of starting your swing sends a series of moderately painful electric shocks into your body. And until such time that you get the club right position and release it in the downswing in the right position, the electric shocks get worse.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So
I love it.
yeah, so basically, you will either learn to swing the club properly, or you will be in pain on the ground, I guess, at the ultimate.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, if you want to fix the swing, let's just get with it. Let's, the heck with all this other stuff. I mean, it's good, but it's moderate. We're going right to the core.
That is so fantastic. I can't wait till something like that comes on. Before we finish, you're down in the desert, in Palm Desert, great, great area. How much golf do you play a week, Barney?
Generally 3 days.
Good for you.
I'm 82, and my back is bad, and the rest of me is bad, and so on. So it's all physical.
Okay. Are you a member of a club, or you just go all over?
No, pardon me. I live at a place called El Dorado, which is a wonderful club, private club, blah, blah, typical behind the gates type of thing. But I actually get in my car and drive about 20 miles to a place, the Palms in La Quinta. And the Palms is very unusual in as much as the average handicap for the entire club is like 8.5 or something.
Right. It's a great club.
Yeah, and I'm just a golfer. I'm not a country clubber, and the Palms is full of golfers. Just a bunch of knockers like me, and we go out, we don't play for very much, but we compete. That's where I go.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, I may be coming down to your area in the immediate future, Barney. I'd love to get a hold of you, maybe get out and tee it up with you.
Well, if you come down in another month or so, it'll be lovely. It'll be about 118. But the humidity will be low, so as you burn to a crisp on the golf course, you won't feel bad.
All right. Well, don't forget, I'm in Las Vegas, so I'm very, very well used to that. But anyway, Barney, thank you so much for your time. Great interview. Always love having you on. Best of luck with Breakthrough Golf Technology, and we'd love to have you back sooner than later, my friend.
Thank you. And by the way, I can tell you why the people such as yourself like to have people like me from my era on.
Why?
I'm the only one left.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, Barney, take care of yourself. My best to your beautiful wife.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, everybody, Barney Adams, what a great guy. We'll step away again, take another short break. We'll come back. We'll finish up the show. Stay with us. When it comes to golf, I'm a man of few words, as you'll see. Looking for out-of-this-world technology in your golf ball? Encore Golf. Looking for exceptional performance and durability? Encore Golf. Looking for the best performing ball for the price? Encore Golf. Check them out at Encore Golf. That's ONCORE golf.com. Your scores will thank you.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
You know, I tried like hell the other day to go through my garage. You can imagine I got a few golf clubs there. I know I've got a Tight-Lice, a couple of fairway woods in there, and I wanted to bring them on the show for Barney. But anyway, he just did absolutely fantastic with them, and they were really a great innovation. Just a quick reminder again, in a couple of weeks, we're going to have the Golfer's Garden embedded into the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. So make sure you look for that, and it's going to be an absolutely great segment. Next week, everybody has heard of Golf Tech. They give more golf lessons than anybody in the country combined. They've got locations all over the United States. They're in Europe. We're going to have the president of Golf Tech on, and that's going to be a very, very interesting show. So until then, thank you so much for watching. We love having you in. Fairways and Greens, get out and play some golf. We'll be right back here, same place, same time next week. So long, everybody.